Hello, human beings of planet Earth. Welcome to Miles Morales. I, for once, have some peace and quiet in my house because nobody's here except me. It's the only time there's ever any peace and quiet is when no one's here because everyone always yells and never shuts up, so whatever. Anyway, what were we doing last time? I just played this like yesterday. I should know. And also, I don't know what's gonna happen. I might get in trouble today. I was supposed to do chores when my family left, and I did. But they still find a way to yell at me. I did what I was supposed to do. I was told to put my laundry away, and I did, but I left like 4 shirts sitting in my basket because I realized, why would I do my chores, waste my time doing chores when I have so many better things I could do when nobody's here for once. Like, there's finally some peace and quiet. Might as well use that time to record videos and stuff instead of sitting there doing chores and wasting time. So, if I get yelled at, I don't really care. I don't make an... Did I make it? I never made an artist role, did I, in my thing? That's weird. I don't know what I'm even doing at this moment, but it's dumb. That's it. That's all I have to say, is it's dumb. I've been trying to reconnect with a bunch of old friends and stuff like that, from just a lot of times over the years and people that I've known. And a lot of them have gotten back to me. Some of them, at least. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 on Instagram, at least. There's a few others probably on Discord, but Anyway, we're trying to get the Crimson Cowl suit, I think. Yeah, so we need 5 more parts, which I think I'm a Bob or something like that. So we've got all the things done here. I don't even know what to do. I'm over here, so I guess I could do this one. I don't know. How many do I have left in the game? I think I've done them all, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's only 2 bases left of the whole game right now, and they're both Roxxon, so that's good. The thing that sucks though, I just realized I used this suit last time. The thing that sucks though is that I've been spending a lot of episodes. I'm gonna go with homemade. Basically just I'm gonna check it. Whatever. I spent a lot of episodes just getting costumes, probably like the past 7 or 8 or something like that, just trying to get costumes and stuff. So I promise I am going to do the story. I think they also announced, since the next one of these games, of these Spider-Man games, and a Wolverine game, and a Guardians of the Galaxy game, and the Avengers game I have now, so I'm going to be playing through that at some point. But yeah, I'm interested in all of those games. I'm going to play them all at some point, probably. I don't know about 3 of them. I know I'm going to do the Avengers one because I have it. I don't know about the next Spider-Man one. I want to get it, but it's probably just going to be PS5 exclusive, I believe. Same with Wolverine, and then I believe Guardians of the Galaxy might be coming to PS4, but I'm not 100% confident in that. So, just kind of depends. But anyway, because yeah, I ain't getting a PS5 anytime soon. So, anyway. What am I doing? Okay, there we go. Anyway, yeah, where am I supposed to, the door, this door, what do I do? Oh, that's what I do, right? No? Oh, there we go. Duh. So yeah, I'm excited for the future of the Marvel games because Marvel, to be honest, there's been some good games, but I think they were all Spider-Man, to be honest. Batman's had a lot of good games. Gonke, whatever the heck his name is, has gone completely silent and is yet somehow still on the line. I don't know if that's a glitch or not, but yeah. I am just trying to get through this one too, but yeah, I'm happy with the fact that we're getting a Wolverine game, especially because I really hope it's good. If it's not good, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be so mad because like I love Wolverine. I don't think I've really talked about him much on these on my videos and on my channel, but like he's my second favorite Marvel hero. I'm not even joking. Like when it comes to superheroes in general, he's my third. My number one is Spider-Man, my number two is Batman, and my number three is Wolverine. And then my top three DC heroes are Batman, Superman, Flash. But like my top three Marvel ones is Spider-Man, Wolverine is second, and then Hulk is third. Like there's a lot of you know. So which is weird that none of them were technically owned by Marvel with the movies. Like Hulk was Universal, and they just gave permission to use him in the movies immediately. Unlike with Spider-Man and Wolverine, well, they had to buy the studio to get Wolverine. But then with Spider-Man, they just kind of reached an agreement with Sony. Whereas with Hulk, they didn't wait. Like there were no Hulk movies other than the Ang Lee one. After that, they were like, yeah, no, Marvel, you can do it. We don't care. So it's interesting, but yeah, it's weird that they're the three who have had movies, like a lot bigger movies, in the 2000s without, because like yeah, Blade was like the first, I'd say, good Marvel movie for the most part back in the 90s, but like I don't know, it's just funny because in the 2000s the three that were huge in a way, I mean Hulk didn't get very good reviews and wasn't really popular, I'd say, but like those were the three biggest heroes at the time before Iron Man came out. Were the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies were definitely the biggest out of all of them, and then the X-Men movies, the original trilogy, and then Origins, which sucked. So basically just X1, X-Men, and X2 were the ones that everyone talked about. Same with Spider-Man. It was Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. And then I guess Daredevil came out, but that one sucked too, even worse than Hulk, I'd say. And then there was Ang Lee's Hulk, which was a thing. So yeah, that was weird, but yeah. So it's interesting to know that. And then obviously I guess Fantastic Four also came out and was pretty good, I guess. Sorta. The first one, the one from 2005, was good. The Rise of the Silver Surfer, I don't like it that much at all. But I'd say, even though I don't like it, I think I've watched it more than the 2005 one, just because it's so bad it's good in my opinion. And there are a lot of things people complain about with it that I get, but there's also a lot that I don't actually really understand why it's so, like, why they hate it so much, or like, I don't know. I get that like Galactus being a cloud is stupid, and it is. And especially at that time, because like at this time we have a lot more comic book movies, like, you know, Thanos being a, you know, back when Iron Man first came out, if they had done Infinity War, Thanos would have just been like, I don't know, I don't think they would have wanted to do that at all. And it was a lot harder the CGI wasn't quite as good back then, so it was, you know, I mean, Hulk looked pretty good in The Incredible Hulk, but whatever. And I'd say like at the start of the 2000s they were doing like in the middle, you know, like it's weird. They were trying to be more realistic, like with the X-Men, for example, they had like the black leather suits, which I know some people weren't a fan of, but like, you know, it was meant to be more quote-unquote realistic, but then they still had a lot of the more silly comic book, you know, childish, I guess, ideas. So it's kind of interesting to see how it's kind of like a mix. It's a mix of like Nolan's Batman, but also Adam West's Batman, like in the same in the same sentence, one it's, oh, we're too adult for yellow spandex. We make fun of that. But in the next sentence, it's like, the Juggernaut, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's strange how it's literally like 1 second is dark and gritty, and the next it's no, we're silly. So, except for Spider-Man. Spider-Man was just silly all the way through. I don't think there was much in the Spider-Man movies that I'd consider dark and gritty. Other than, I guess, the final fight with Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man movie, and the hospital scene with Doc Ock, and maybe the Venom jump scare type thing in Spider-Man 3, but not really, because it was not very long. Whereas the other two were at least whole scenes in each movie, but that's also kind of what happens when you get a horror director to do a superhero movie. They have to have at least one little, not gory, but like a little bit more of a disturbing scene. A bit more creepy and dark. And that's true, by the way. I think that would work for any horror director making a superhero movie. Or horror writer writing a superhero story. Which would be me. Because I've done a lot of stories, like, a long time ago it was Five Nights at Freddy's fan fictions. Not the gross ones that you would normally think of, but like actual, like, my own ideas for a story of that universe and what's going on, and because there wasn't much lore at the time, it was like the first 2 or 3 games that come out, that was about it. Because it just was a bit harder to piece together a whole story, and it still is hard now, but it's like it's a bit more. We know the characters, whereas back then there weren't many characters to go off of. There was Purple Guy, didn't even have a name. Now it's, before there was Purple Guy and you didn't know his name or nothing. Now suddenly it's William Afton, and you can trace his whole family tree and everything, and it's crazy. So, and yet somehow the story still makes no sense. So, I liked to write a lot of, and I still do, obviously. My favorite genre ever of anything is horror. But stories, whether it's like Michael Myers and type story, original ideas, I've even recently. Shut up, Gonke. Yeah, and I didn't want to directly, basically just be Nolan, try to do Nolan's Batman again. And because there's a lot of people who they'll make their own stories, but in reality it's just Nolan's Batman but with different villains. So like I tried to change that up a bit. Okay, I'm gonna go just stop a crime because that's gonna get me enough tokens. But yeah, it's strange. There's a lot of time. I tried to do. There's disturbing moments, like it's told through the eyes of the child, and it's a very sad and kind of scary scene. It's very nightmarish, in my opinion, because it's he's. But at the same time, it's or book one, and it's not it's weird. I can in my head I format it like a TV show. Episode 1, episode 2, whatever. And each book is season 1, season 2. But in reality, it's just a trilogy of books with 10 parts or chapters, I guess you could call them, or yeah, 10 parts on Wattpad each, which are about 10 chapters each. So it's only really 30 parts, chapters, I guess you could say, because it's 10 per thing, per episode, and it's like per part, and there's 10 parts each. So it's about 300 chapters to get to the very end. Which sounds like a lot, but a lot of them are to be a genuine man, I guess you could say, like a while away from it. I had the first 2 episodes, right? The first one I did for it, or the first part I did for it, took like 4 months to write, because it's really hard to start a story. That's like the #1 part that I'd say is like the hardest part of writing a story, is staring at that blank piece of paper and figuring out how you want it to begin. Especially, like, you could sit there and plan out your story and what's going to happen the whole time, but actually writing the first sentence is the hardest thing to come up with. I'm not even joking. I'll sit there for days and weeks trying to come up with the first sentence. And I'd say most of that, 4 months spent on the first part of that story was me trying to figure out the first 2-3 chapters and what to do with them. But eventually I figured it out, and it kind of started to flow, and I started to write it really well, and I enjoyed releasing it. I released it on March 31st of 2021, which is the year that I'm recording this. And perfect. Oh, Spencer wants to play Fortnite, but I'm playing Spider-Man. I don't know what to do. Anyway, we now have the Crimson Cowl suit. Didn't take very long to unlock, so I say we're not going to go after the end suit just yet, I don't believe. I don't think we should do that, really. Because we now have... I had the animated one, and then I spent a few episodes, I believe, trying to get the tracksuit, and the Crimson Cowl is what I just got now. And then I also think I took a while to get the animated suit and the homemade suit. Because I just spent like the past 4 episodes getting costumes. So I say I could go for the end, but I'm not interested. I'm actually going to go for the story for once. So let's do that. But yeah, all in all, I released the first part on March 31st, and then the second was like in, I want to say, April or May. I believe it was May that I released it, and then I think the third I did in June or July. I believe it was July. And then I haven't done anything with it. I have not written a single sentence since I finished the third part, which was, the first part was basically his Batman not even becoming Batman, because he's not Batman for the first book of the trilogy. He's just Bruce Wayne, and he's trying to figure out his crime fighting and how to become Batman. But it was basically just him with his training and stuff like that, and finding out information about his parents' killer. And then the second episode was him finding his parents' killer. They're basically like a two-parter in one. Or not episode. I call them episodes because, like I said, in my mind, it's a TV show. Because when I write it, I do write it as a novel, but I visualize it so like perfectly when I'm writing it that it feels like a movie or a show. So yeah. Anyway, so basically, and then the third episode was the first villain at all. It was just Deadshot, and he was hired as an assassin. So in reality, there hasn't been any kind of real villains, because Deadshot's more of an anti-hero, like, at least recently. Back when he was first introduced, he was absolutely a villain to him, part of the Suicide Squad and stuff, so he's a lot more, and he does a lot more good than it's far. The fourth part, yeah, events that have to plan out each individual episode and every little word said, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of planned out the idea of first few episodes just spent going after his parents' kill. Episodes is, him. I didn't really plan out each individual thing, or even, some of the villains I planned out, the big villains that are the actual are about. But that's it. I don't have each individual episode with a villain planned. I'm like, yeah, obviously, since the way it's set up, it doesn't need to have a new villain every episode or every chapter or whatever, and it's not going to necessarily. But there's a lot of things that I want to do with that, so yeah. You don't need to be walking in my room trying to look for reasons to get me in trouble, Evan. What? You got the Crimson Cowl suit? Yeah, I just started playing. I literally just started playing. I did a crime. It gave me enough for the suit. I unlocked the suit. That's all I've done.
Are you unlocking a separate suit now?
No, I'm doing the story. What are you doing, Evan?
put it down downstairs, not cleaned up.
Dave?